The rain had been falling all evening. Inside the huge mansion, everything was quiet, except for the sound of footsteps rushing across the marble floor. Emily Carter stood at the end of the hallway. She had just returned from a dinner with her fiancé. Her heart was full of happiness. She was going to marry Daniel Brooks, a powerful billionaire known for his calm nature. Emily believed she knew him better than anyone. But that night, everything changed. She heard a strange sound from the study, a soft voice, then a quiet laughter. Emily stopped. Her smile disappeared. She slowly walked towards the half open door. Then she looked inside and froze. Daniel was sitting on the large sofa. A young maid named Sarah was beside him. Her head rested against his chest, Daniel's arms around her shoulders. For a few seconds, Emily could not breathe. Her eyes filled with tears. Daniel? Her voice was barely a whisper. Both of them looked towards the door. Sarah quickly stood up. Miss Carter, please. Emily raised her hand. Don't. Her voice shook. Daniel stood immediately. Emily, wait. She stared at him. You told me was nothing I need to worry about? There isn't, Daniel said. Then why is she in your arms? Daniel opened his mouth, but Emily was already crying. She turned away. I trusted you. Sarah looked afraid. Mr. Brooks, I should leave. No, Daniel said quietly. Stay. Emily looked back. That one word hurt more than anything. She wiped her tears. So, this is what happens when I'm not around? No, Daniel said firmly. You misunderstood what you saw. Emily gave a bitter laugh. Then explain it. Daniel stepped closer. But she moved away. Don't come near me. The room became silent. Then Sarah suddenly spoke. Miss Carter, he wasn't holding me because of what you think. Emily stared at her. Then why? Sarah looked at Daniel. Daniel nodded slowly. Sarah took a deep breath. Because I was crying. Emily frowned. Crying? Sarah nodded. I have just received a message about my mother. Daniel's expressions became serious. She is very sick, he explained. Emily looked from Sarah to Daniel. Her anger began to mix with confusion. But there was something else, something Daniel still wasn't telling her, and Emily was about to discover that the woman on his chest was only the beginning of a secret that could change their wedding forever. More than I could ever afford, Daniel stepped forward. I offered to help. Emily looked at him. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want to make this about money. Emily shook her head. That isn't what I mean. She looked at towards Sarah. You could have told me too. Sarah looked surprised. I didn't think you would care. Emily's eyes filled with tears again. I would have. For the first time that night, the room became quiet for a different reason. Daniel looked at Emily. I knew you would want to help. Then why hide it from me? Daniel took a slow breath. Because Sarah asked me to. Emily turned towards Sarah. Why? Sarah's face became pale. Because I was ashamed. She wiped her eyes. I didn't want anyone to know my family was struggling. Emily stepped closer. You don't have to be ashamed of needing help. Sarah nodded. Then Daniel quietly said, there is something else. Emily looked at him. What? Daniel glanced at Sarah. Sarah looked nervous. Then she slowly reached into her pocket. She pulled out a small envelope. This came yesterday. Emily stared at it. What is it? Sarah handed it to Daniel. Daniel opened the envelope. His expression immediately changed. Emily noticed. What does it say? Daniel didn't answer. Daniel? He finally looked at her. It concerns my father. Emily frowned. Your father? Daniel's father had died several years earlier. His death had always been a painful subject. What does Sarah's mother have to do with your father? Emily asked. Sarah looked at the floor. My mother worked for Mr. Brooks many years ago. Emily's eyes widened. You knew my father? Sarah nodded. He helped my family once. Daniel looked at Emily. And now I understand why. Emily waited. Daniel pulled out an old photograph from the envelope. It showed his father standing outside the mansion. Beside him stood a younger woman, Sarah's mother. Emily stared at the photograph, but there was something else. A handwritten note was attached to the back. Daniel read it silently. His face turned pale. What does it say? Emily whispered. He looked at Sarah, then at Emily. It says my father left something for Sarah's mother. Emily's heart began racing. Something important? Daniel noticed. Something that could explain why she suddenly contacted us. Sarah stepped forward, and why my mother told me never to trust anyone in this family. Emily froze. Daniel looked equally shocked. For the first time that night, neither of them knew what to say. Then Sarah whispered, "There is one more thing." Emily turned toward her. "What?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "My mother says your father's secret is connected to your wedding." And suddenly Emily realized this was no longer about jealousy. Someone had been hiding the truth from them for years. Someone had been hiding the truth from them for years. Emily stared at Sarah. "What does that mean?" Sarah shook her head. "I don't know everything." "Then tell us what you do know," Daniel said. Sarah took a deep breath. "My mother gave me the letter before I came here." She pulled out another folded paper from her pocket. "She told me to give it to Mr. Brooks." Daniel took it carefully. His hands were suddenly shaking. Emily stood beside him. "Open it," she whispered. Daniel unfolded the paper. His eyes moved across the first few lines. Then he stopped. Emily noticed a change in his face. "What is it?" Daniel looked at her. "My father wrote this." Emily's heart sank. "What does he say?" Daniel slowly read the letter. It explained that many years ago his father had discovered a serious mistake in the family business. Money had been moved without permission. Important records had disappeared, and someone inside the family had covered it up. Daniel looked at Sarah. "Your mother knew about this?" Sarah nodded. "She was his assistant." Emily looked confused. "Then why didn't she speak up?" "She was afraid," Sarah answered. "My mother had a young daughter to protect." Daniel continued reading. Then his eyes stopped at once intense. His face became completely still. Emily touched his arm. "Daniel?" He did not respond. She gently took the letter from him. Her eyes moved over the words. Then she understood. Her father had written that the missing money had never been stolen. It had been secretly placed into a trust created for someone. Emily looked at Daniel. Who was it for? Daniel's voice was quiet. "Sarah." Sarah gasped. Emily looked at her. "What?" Sarah stepped back. "No." Daniel nodded. "My father created the trust for Sarah's family." Sarah covered her mouth. "But why?" Daniel read the final part of the letter. His father had discovered that Sarah's mother had been blamed for something she never did. He wanted to protect her, but before he could correct the record, he became seriously ill. The secret remained hidden. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "So your father was trying to help her?" "Yes." Daniel looked toward Sarah, and he wanted me to finish what he started. Sarah began crying. Emily moved towards her. She gently held Sarah's hand. "You don't have to face this alone." Sarah nodded through her tears, but then Daniel noticed something strange. The letter had one final page. He pulled it out from the envelope. His eyes widened. Emily looked at him. "What now?" Daniel slowly read the page. Then he looked directly at Emily. "This changes everything." "What does it say?" Daniel hesitated. "It says my father never approved of our engagement." Emily's face went pale. "What?" Daniel continued. "He wanted me not to marry you." Silence filled the room. Emily felt as if the floor had disappeared beneath her. "Why?" Daniel looked down at the letter again. "Because he believed someone close to you was hiding the truth." Emily's voice trembled. "Someone close to me?" Daniel nodded. Then Sarah suddenly remembered something. There was a name. Daniel looked at her. "What name?" Sarah whispered. "Your father's letter mentioned Emily's family." Emily froze. "My family?" Sarah nodded. "And it said one person knew everything." Daniel stared at the final line. Then he whispered the name. "Your mother." Emily could not speak. The woman she trusted most had suddenly become part of the mystery. And before the night ended, Emily would learn why her mother had kept their secret for so many years. And before the night ended, Emily would learn why her mother had kept this secret for so many years. Emily stared at Daniel. "My mother?" Daniel nodded slowly. "I don't want to believe it either." Emily immediately reached for her phone. "I need to call her." She pressed the number. Her mother answered after a few rings. "Emily, is everything okay?" Emily's voice shook. "Mom, did you know Daniel's father?" There was silence, a long silence. Then her mother whispered, "Yes." Emily closed her eyes. "Why didn't you tell me? I was trying to protect you." "From what?" Her mother sighed. "From an old mistake." Daniel stepped closer. "Miss Carter, we found your name in my father's letter." Another silence followed. Then her mother finally said, "You deserve to know the truth." She explained that years ago, Daniel's father had discovered that one of his business partners had secretly moved company money. Emily's mother had unknowingly signed one document. The partner later used her signature to make her look responsible. Daniel's father discovered the truth. He planned to expose the man, but before he could do it, his health suddenly failed. The evidence was hidden. Emily's mother lived with the fear that the truth would destroy her family. Daniel listened quietly. Then he asked, "Who was the business partner?" Her mother hesitated. "Your uncle." Daniel froze. "My uncle?" "Yes." The room went silent. Daniel finally understood. His uncle had spent years pretending to protect the family business, but he had actually been hiding the truth. Sarah's mother had known part of the story. That was why Daniel had found her crying in the study. She had received the news that her mother was finally ready to reveal everything. Emily looked at Sarah. "So you weren't hiding an affair?" Sarah shook her head. "No." Emily looked at Daniel. "I thought I lost you." Daniel gently took her hand. "You never lost me." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "I was so afraid." "I know." Then Daniel looked towards Sarah. "There is something you should know too." Sarah looked confused. Daniel handed her the letter. "My father created that trust for your mother." Sarah read the final lines. It contained enough money to pay for her mother's treatment. Sarah burst into tears. "Why would he do that?" Daniel smiled sadly. "Because he believed people deserved a second chance." Sarah hugged the letter against her chest. Emily wiped her tears. Then she looked at Daniel. "What about us?" Daniel smiled. "I still want to marry you." Emily laughed softly through her tears. "But after tonight, I think we should stop keeping secrets." Daniel nodded. "No more secrets." Months later, the truth about Daniel's uncle became public. The family business survived. Sarah's mother received the treatment she needed, and Emily and Daniel finally married. But on their wedding day, Daniel gave Emily one final surprise. He showed her a small photograph. It was Daniel's father and Emily's mother. They were standing together many years earlier. On the back was a handwritten message. "One day their children may bring our families together." Emily stared at the words. Then she looked at Daniel. "So your father knew?" Daniel smiled. "Maybe he did." Emily laughed. The woman who once thought she had witnessed betrayal had discovered something completely different. Sometimes one painful moment can hide a bigger truth, and sometimes love survives not because there are no secrets, but because two people finally choose honesty over fear. The greatest love stories are not built on perfect lives, they are built on trust, forgiveness, and the courage to uncover the truth.